Hey guys, Dom here, back again with another Bethesda video. Now, while my time recently has all been wrapped up within the Outer Worlds, news surrounding Bethesda has been pretty quiet lately outside of Fallout 76. But today I wanted to talk about something that definitely gives us more of an inside look into Bethesda Game Studios' life over the last few years, and also gives us somewhat of an explanation as to why things have started to change over at Bethesda Game Studios. Now, to start this video, we have to dive into a quite unheard of interview, as it's only sat around 2,000 views. An interview with Geoff Keighley and of course with Todd Howard, all the way back in 2018. Now, this interview takes place a couple of months after Bethesda's big E3 showcase back in 2018, where they first shown off Fallout 76, Starfield, and The Elder Scrolls 6. But it's within this interview that we discover, because of Bethesda's expansions over the last few years, Todd Howard now takes on more of a managerial role within Bethesda Game Studios, and more of a back seat when it comes to actual game development and game design. Now, funny enough, this question was first posed by a YouTuber called Ranton in his brand new podcast, which I strongly recommend you guys watch, as Ranton sits down with a one Caesar. Now, Caesar is a freelanced creative director and has worked within the gaming industry for years now, working on huge AAA titles from Assassin's Creed, a bunch of Ubisoft titles, and so much more. But after talking to this industry insider about his professional opinion on the disastrous Fallout 76, Ranton had this to say about what could possibly be going on with Todd Howard in recent years.
I have a theory about Todd Howard. Can I shoot this? I will shoot this by you. You tell me what you think. So my theory is, this guy, after making 3 groundbreaking big titles like Oblivion, Skyrim, and Fallout 3, titles that are universally acclaimed, this guy has gotten so big and so wealthy, and he said in an interview once, 2 years ago, that he's overseeing different teams at different projects. My theory is this guy is not involved anymore at a creative level on these games at all. This guy is now a guy who goes there, gets a status update, looks at how things are going, and then goes to another studio and checks it out. He doesn't sit anywhere anymore and brainstorms with people on a creative content level. What do you think?
That's true.
Yeah.
I believe that is true. I also believe they had very aggressive deadlines, and they might have some financial problems because they'll fail to meet certain financial expectations, because growth is, even if you have a massive growth, if it falls under expectations, people are going to be fired because there's a plan. And there are many moving pieces that will help create this catastrophe. Because make no mistake, this is a massive catastrophe.
Yeah.
Massive. The fact that it was not cancelled, it shows that they were desperate.
Yeah.
And now with this interview I've just found, it could seem that Ranton was absolutely right. Now again, if you wanted to check out any of these videos, I will leave them linked down in the description below. So moving on to the actual interview with Todd Howard, Todd had this to say about how his role at Bethesda has changed within recent years.
I wonder, what's the average day now for Todd Howard? You've gone to the same office for 25 years, but obviously now you have studios in 3 locations, you have multiple projects going. I know every day is different for you, but what is the average day for Todd in 2018? How do you spend your time now?
Well, now that we're doing a lot of projects, I will spend, I have a day carved out probably for each project.
Okay.
And then the one that is getting the most attention at the time, I spend more time on. So 76 and Blades get a lot of my time right now.
Right.
And I'm in more meetings a lot of times now, as opposed to, like, I haven't coded in one of our games, and they banned me back in 2002.
Oh,
so,
wow.
2006 is probably the last code I wrote.
Okay.
So I used to really dig in. And every project that goes on, everybody knows what they're doing. So I spend a little more time in meetings discussing the game, looking at the game together.
Right.
And sometimes if something, I prefer to work out a design with other people once in a while there'll be something where it's not quite solved, and I'll go back and work on it on my own. But then I'm also pitching it.
So, as you heard, Todd Howard hasn't been allowed to code or help physically create his own titles since 2006. And for anyone guessing, that would be around the Oblivion days. Now, I hear what some of you are saying. Well, Dom, Bethesda has had huge successes within that time frame, with Fallout 3 to Skyrim and Fallout 4. And my answer to that is, while Todd Howard may not have been physically coding those games, he still was overseeing everything and working towards one project at a time, devoting all of his time, all of his efforts on one project, one team of 100 people, one team, one project, day in and day out until it's finished. Now it's here Todd explains how fragmented his time has become and how all of these new studio expansions and all of these new projects have changed how Bethesda game studios run.
Well, now that we're doing a lot of projects, I will spend, I have a day carved out probably for each project.
You said at E3 you've got Elder Scrolls 6, in some state of pre-production. You've got Starfield. You guys are playing in the office now. And then Fallout and Blades. All these things.
There was a period where it was very, very challenging. Yeah. Now we've definitely settled in. We've grown the studios a lot, who have become part of Bethesda Game Studios. So that amount of people all working together. There are a lot of new people as well. Yeah. And so when we grew, last year, there was a lot of new people, and getting that sorted out we went through some growing pains, but it was a good experience for all of us. So I would say we're juggling a little bit more than we used to, because we always overlapped, but there are more people involved, right, which I knew we needed to do. So we looked forward to Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, and what you have in mind for those games, you realize it's going to take more people than the typical 100-person studio that we had for a long time.
So again, as you heard, it seems Todd Howard can only realistically spend time on one project a day, which is absolutely crazy to think that Todd Howard, the man that lived and breathed games like Skyrim and Fallout 3 and 4 from conception to birth, every day for a 3 to 4 year development cycle, can now only physically work on a project such as Fallout 76, The Elder Scrolls 6, or Starfield, a day, a week it seems. And it's all due to these studio expansions. As Todd said, it was very new for Bethesda Game Studios to expand in such a manner. There were teething pains for the first year, and it must have been hard to adjust. And I believe this is what's damaging Bethesda Game Studios. With all of these new projects and people that Todd now has to manage, the studio's time and Todd's talents are being spread too thin, and things like the continuous state of Fallout 76 and all of these mistakes in recent years are starting to slip through the cracks just to please the overlords at ZeniMax Media. Too many half-baked products and ideas are being pushed out, and no fully realized, fully baked games like Skyrim and Fallout 3 and 4. And it's here where I am scared for Bethesda's future. Now, if you've been on this channel long enough, you'll know that I am totally in love with Starfield. The idea of Bethesda creating this immersive sci-fi RPG in the styles that we know and love, like Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I have spent so many hours researching and diving into a game that does not yet exist. The idea alone of Bethesda creating something wholly original really sets my imagination on fire. But I feel like I've been punched in the gut now by the fact that Todd Howard isn't actually physically allowed to dedicate the time and his attention fully to games like Starfield, like he did with Fallout 3, like he did with Skyrim, or for that matter all the past Elder Scrolls entries. The fact that he is now banned, in his words, from working physically on Starfield or the Elder Scrolls 6 really scares me, and I'm afraid for what's to come next. On a personal note, I need Starfield to be a success. I need Bethesda to return to form. Please.